white noise. Ugh, the spine. Was sort of hoping it was just the one of them. The process. I guess when they reach a certain size or something, it's like they started blacking out.
Okay, we've got a lot of work ahead of us. Speed test is closed off, so we will start with planning.
3 it is. Okay, go for it.
So we've got Breach giving us a whole lot of extra movement, and Ping. Very low costed, nice range. This is an easy one.
Like I was saying.
Nothing to it.
Think that door's gonna stay shut.
How's your eye doing, buddy?
3's open again. Looks like a scoop.
This one's considerably more tricky. We don't have enough planning potential to get 2 loads out. Now this one I don't feel particularly confident on. I know how to solve it. I never feel sure that it's going to work.
It'd be tough. See? Real tough. Bounced him.
Alright, now that one's all closed up. And it looks like we only got one other choice.
Up for another round. Load up and mop up.
Okay, who's ready for things to get hairy? Starting out with quantity over quality.
Bring it on.
As usual, Fetch is our problem child. Can just about take it out in one turn and not taking any chances on the second. Gonna go out with some heavy damage for the next wave.
Good stuff.
That's an unfortunate thing right there. Let's make sure that it doesn't happen again. Doing good so far, but we still got a long ways to go.
Alright, alright.
The combination of cheerleaders and leads, especially right next to each other, is very potent.
Payback time.
Fortunately, these cheerleaders are all still 1.0, so we don't have to worry about them self-shielding quite yet. And now, with a single weed and a single snapshot remaining, we should be in the clear.
Getting static.
Of course, if it manages to float out of range like that, he might be in a bit of trouble. Shouldn't be too bad, though. Debating between more offense or some support, I'm thinking that the reduced turn cooldown will be more useful to us than the ability to run away quickly. Seeing if a little bit of aggressive play will keep me from having to use turn quite so often.
We're caught out.
Worked out just fine for that wave. Hopefully it'll hold out in the next one. And they just keep coming. Fortunately, that fetch was taken care of, so we don't have quite so much chaos to deal with. Double cheerleaders, but fortunately one is focusing on the other. And the cowardly clucker manages to run out of range, and would you look at that, there were 3 of the things. No threat on their own.
Good, good.
Time for our second bit of support. And they switch to take the heat off of us, especially if we're going to start seeing a whole bunch of fetches. It looks like the cheerleader turned the fetch on before we were quite ready for him. Going to have to make thorough use of the switch in order to keep ourselves alive here. And there goes our big bruiser. Now, unfortunately, the Cluckers are slow enough to get going that we're probably not going to be able to rely on their offensive abilities to help us out here. Switching them is mainly going to be used to keep them from shooting at us for a few seconds. Taking back a bit of movement in order to make our turn more efficient. These weeds are beginning to become a bit of a pain. Let's see if we can take one or two of them out. Just the one weed, but we got a cheerleader, which means that that other weed will be ripe for the picking. Hopefully the switch on the cheerleader will get the shield off of the fetch before the packet goes off. Yes, very good. But of course, there's still that one cheerleader remaining, so let's take care of that first. And just repeat what we did last time. But the fetch runs out of range, and we pay for it heavily. Wanting to pull the Cluckers in first, just to make sure that they are present for the explosion. And with just one remain, we can bully it a little.
Anyone else?
Alright. We lost a whole bunch of our firepower in that last wave. It's time to restock and see how we can do in the next one. And now, Fetch 2.0. Have to deal with their hunting cloaks. Oh joy. Going to try to prioritize the weeds a little bit more. Having the process get healed up to full in between my turns has been a problem in previous waves, and I would like for it to be less of a problem in this one. And of course, turn locks on to the wrong fetch, and I just straight up miss. make sure to line it up just right for maximum damage. The snapshots and cluckers I'm really not especially worried about. Constantly staying mobile will keep us out of their line of fire pretty effectively. It's, as usual, the fetch that's the big problem. Trying to make sure that I hit the packet, not the snapshot. A little bit tricky when they're so close together. And once again, I'm down to just 2, but the fetch is gone. We should be alright. And with that snapshot gone, it's basically in the bag. Not much more to go, but we've lost most of our functions again, so it's time to see what little we've been given.
Let's keep this up.
Having Void in our loadout means that dealing with cheerleaders is going to be considerably easier. Adjusting distance slightly in order to get in just enough damage. Or at least you would think, but sometimes turn tells lies. Fortunately, Void has not expired on these 2 yet, so we can still take him out with only half a turn used up. And with another minor adjustment, creep goes down. Very carefully considering who my priority targets are this time. It's always a smart idea to take out bad cells right away. They generally go down in one hit from anything, and they're a big enough worry with their stunning shots that it's always a good idea to take them out first. fetch is getting in its licks in one at a time, wearing us down, but we're wearing it down in turn. And once again, snapshots and cluckers by their lonesomes are not that big of a deal. Close call after close call. But we're finally down to the end. Didn't really get any use out of help that time, so we are going to take it off of an active slot. Reminding myself briefly what slapping spark onto mask will do. Seems like a good enough idea. And a passive help. Super user ability will probably be useful in this situation. Really trying to play aggressively at the start. Don't want to have the process keep spawning in and then we get overwhelmed. Be able to hit the fetch this turn because it's shielded, but if at the very least we can set up to take care of the cheerleader. Thinking back on it now, I probably should have dropped a packet there and blown it up. Almost certainly would have taken care of that second creep. But of course, I didn't, and now it's back to full, so I'm going to make sure to get rid of the weed this turn. Well, we only really got one charge out of it, but Super User is online.
My goodness.
Gotta try and line up this shot or else we're gonna hit the weed more than we ought to. Fortunately, those two creeps over on the left have lost sight of us, so they're just gonna hang out for a while. And predicting where the creep is going to be, we can miss with the auxiliary shot. It works sometimes, definitely not all of the time, but it's worth a shot. And while everybody over here is unprotected, a little bit too close to the packet to set it off. to see if we can line up another kill. Get some nice fat returns on it. Of course, Fetch is strong enough to live through a kill, wouldn't you know it? So it's gonna run off back to the weed to get patched up. How lovely. Trying to get that placed just so to make sure that the fetch inside of the weed also gets hit. Hopefully we can knock out the weed before the fetch can get all juiced up again.
Damn right.
Oh, now this is just beautiful. Just the one creep remaining. That's how you do it.
Made it.
By the skin of our teeth.
What do we have?
Quite the substantial reward. Just one choice to be made here. Tap. And either a new passive or a new upgrade. I think it's time for an upgrade. And a choice of limiters. Either corrupted cell spawn, or we lose our emergency turn. I think the corrupted cell spawn is going to be more manageable.
That was pro.
That was nuts. But it looks like another planning test opened up for us.
Why won't this thing stay shut? Whatever you do.
One last test to play us out. Our brand new function, Tap, gets a little bit of time in the limelight. This one's pretty obvious. Pull the fetches in, and drop a couple taps to finish them off.
Aces. The things you do to get a little time alone these days.
Well, that was a whole lot of work.
What's new, Luna?
But of course, there's no rest for the wicked. Time to get back out.
I start talking funny, just ignore me, okay?